Welcome to the second half of a now ancient Father's Day episode of the Modern Moron. Why am I still using it? Because I'm a moron. And while the headlines change, the idiots on the left and right remain the same. For example, in the White House, our dear leader has decided not to retaliate against Iran over the shooting down of our drone, and by exercising caution in this case, Trump has mistakenly made both Democrats and Republicans happy. But he signed an executive order imposing sanctions on Iran, and they're pissed off at us along with their Ayatollah instead. Also, President Trump and Kim Jong-un are exchanging love letters again to each other to rekindle their bromance. Trump will be heading to Japan later this final week of June for a G20 summit, and he's going to South Korea while over there, so we could see some love blooming. There could be a rendezvous with you-know-who in North Korea. I personally think they make a cute couple. Okay, in this episode, we BS about the lack of diversity in the party that claims to embrace diversity and the leading candidate, huggin Joe Biden. We also talk about the old news of Trump saying he would look at any dirt provided by another country on a competing candidate for president, and how Trump said in front of the Reporters Corps that he was the most transparent president in the history of our country. We discuss briefly how the kids love Bernie Sanders, and end with an ironic story of the senator's visit to the tomb and church of St. Francis, the patron saint of animals, and the story involves a pet. Ooh. I think you'll find it interesting, and thank you again for listening to The Modern Moron. Speaking of our gratitude to our listeners, do you know that Robert Plant has a new podcast out?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's had 2 episodes out so far, but I only the old one. It's Robert Plant will launch his new podcast. He launched it this month. 2 episodes are out. And I think I said this in one of my, probably the episode I had to do completely alone, where I said, you have over 700,000 choices and that you could listen to me try to fill up 20 minutes. Or you could tune into Robert Plant and have him tell you about his days with Led Zeppelin and being on the road and touring and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Or you can listen to us, listen to The Modern Moron. And the fact that people do that is pretty spectacular to me. I'm grateful for that. You have a choice. We'd like to thank you for flying Southwest. We'd like to thank you for flying the Moron.
I did. While I was in New York, I passed out our business card to many establishments and posted them on every wall I could find in Grand Central Station.
So there are literally millions and millions of people walking by it.
Yes.
Great.
Still.
That's awesome.
Today.
It's novel. That's novel.
I made some progress. I mean, it takes time. I'll bring some more cards next time.
Okay.
And, they have bulletin board. They have all kinds of stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Put it everywhere. Put it in the bathroom.
Great.
In Grand Central, I put it in bathrooms in, the subway.
Awesome.
I did.
Did you put them next to any needles, syringes?
No.
Okay.
No.
Did you find any syringes and needles?
No, actually not.
That's more San Francisco, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's for
Pretty
sure.
bad. Pretty bad in San Francisco.
Yes.
What's your take on the political climate these days? Lots happened.
Well,
And, in over a month, a lot has happened, and at the same time, nothing has happened.
I know. I've
Do you not want to talk about it?
been. No, it's not that I don't want to talk about it. It's just I've been skipping a lot of it because it's just all this mumbo jumbo right now. It's like this stuff. I mean, some of it doesn't really matter until we get closer to the 2020 election, and it's it's all this posturing. And
I use that term. Well, I don't know. Did you see any? And it's going to be on. Well, it will already have aired by the time this airs. George Stephanopoulos' interview with President Trump. Did you see any of the excerpts of that?
no, I haven't seen that.
He says to Trump in the Oval Office, if another country had some dirt on a competitor, one of your counterparts and competitors, would you take that information?
If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
Yeah, of course, everybody went crazy. You can't do that. You can't take any information from another country to try and influence our elections because it will never be for the good of our country. It'll be for the good of their country, blah, 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 blah. And on the one hand, it's like our president is such a dummy.
Don't be rude.
For saying that. And on the other hand, I felt like saying, you know what? He was a person answering honestly, as opposed to most politicians who are constantly posturing themselves. They're not answering honestly. They're posturing themselves. They're saying what they know is the right answer rather than from their heart and their gut. Like if you had some information on somebody that could help you beat them, you're not going to take it. Isn't that a natural thing to do? Didn't quarterback Joe Montana say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying?
Well, they always say if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So they're trying hard.
I'm not advocating cheating, but I do. On the one hand, he's such a knucklehead, but on the other hand, at least he's honest, and I see why people are endeared to that.
But everybody got really upset about that. Yes, I didn't see that quote, but I read, articles about it, etc. But somebody can correct me. I'm fine if I'm wrong on this. But isn't that what the whole report was from Christopher Steele, that the Democratic Party ordered and paid for was dirt on Donald Trump? And Christopher Steele was a British intelligence officer who came up with this dossier on our current president with dirt about golden showers, etc. Mm-hmm. And the Democratic Party bought it, paid for it, and ordered it, and used it.
This would have been on Hillary?
Yes, and used it. It was dirt on a political candidate. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand
the hypocrisy.
Why, in one hand, yes, you can say, no, I can't believe the President of the United States said, and then right out of on the other side of your mouth comes out, well, hey, we did it over here. Yes, you did it. Okay, he said it. You did it. Okay? You guys are both hypocrites. Mm-hmm. All of you are.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. I mean, just look up who Christopher Steele was. Look up the Christopher Steele report. Mm-hmm. He just didn't make that report out of thin air. It was ordered by an organization that was backed by the Democrats and Hillary's campaign. And they took that dirt and used it. Doesn't anybody make that connection that,
oh, yeah,
there's as much of it as Trump is? I don't understand that.
I think they do.
I wish.
Have you been watching Twitter?
A little bit.
I saw something come up reacting to President Trump's little exchange with George Stephanopoulos. Oh, a ton of that came up about Hillary did the same thing. I'm paraphrasing. People were more articulate about it, like you were with the Steele guy. But yeah, they're all crooked. But I want to say President Trump is the wrong man for the job, but the right person for this time. He's giving Washington a dose of their own medicine, and he's kind of better at it. If you want to impeach him, which is basically a lawsuit, right?
Right. I mean, because he's not going to go anywhere. That's the whole other thing with impeachment.
Right. And if anybody knows how to be sued and how to work the legal system, I put my money on that horse.
Yes.
Go ahead, impeach him. File a lawsuit against him. That guy can work the legal system like nobody's business.
And nothing will happen. People, American voters think that impeachment means he's going to be removed from office, which has nothing to do with that. You can impeach him. That's fine. But it doesn't mean he leaves. He doesn't go anywhere unless the Senate says he goes anywhere. And as long as the R's are, controlling the Senate, he goes nowhere. It's just a kick in the shin. It's a punch in the nose. It's a kick in the balls. That's all they want to do and waste a lot of time doing it.
But the last time that happened, wasn't the only time it happened, was with Nixon. They were going to impeach him, or did they impeach him? And he resigned.
He resigned, yes.
Suck it to me.
Because the goods
before or after he was impeached?
Well, Bill Clinton got impeached. He didn't go anywhere.
I know he did, and he didn't step down.
No.
Did Richard Nixon get impeached, or was it impending doom and he just resigned?
He resigned before the impending doom, yes.
Okay.
He resigned.
And Clinton was impeached and was like, okay, next.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
that's basically
the same thing would happen to old Donald Two Tits.
Don't be rude.
That's great.
Have you seen him on the golf course? He's got man boobs.
Does he? I have not seen him on the golf course.
Yeah.
You are fake news.
Yeah, he's got man boobs.
Have you seen him in a bathing suit?
No,
a bikini?
No.
He's got man boobs.
If I was president, I got my own workout, in the White House. I'd be in there lifting weights, man. Come on. Jesus.
He's too busy thinking about himself.
Puerto Rico.
I guess I'm looking in the polls saying Joe Biden is doing well.
What you going to do about it?
In the polls?
Yes.
Like he could possibly beat Trump, as of now.
Can
I just say something? Make a bet or make a prediction?
Okay.
If by some chance Biden wins or the Democratic Party wins,
That's all I care about.
and come January, the inauguration, I bet you Trump will not be there.
That's highly probable.
He would not show up to that. That'd be like showing up to your own defeat. He would not. He will not be there.
Yeah.
Can't you
I
just
believe
picture that?
But aren't you glad? I'm so glad I have my tongue in cheek right now that the Democratic Party is nominating somebody that they just, the face of the Democratic Party to not be a white, privileged old man. Aren't you glad they're nominating somebody who's not white, not privileged, and not an old man? Wow. Oh,
You mean Joe Biden?
oh, wow. Those so progressive, those D's, man. And even in California, right? Their governor, a white, rich, privileged cracker, and they vote him in.
I guess it's progress.
Oh man, you guys are so progressive. Yes. Oh God, it just kills me.
Our studio audience is in total agreement with you there.
You guys don't get it. Nobody gets it. Okay. You know, you got Newsom in California. You got Biden now, like, apparently leading. Whatever. I mean, really, you guys? That's the best you can do. That's the best the Republicans can
That's
do.
the way I feel every election.
I know.
That's the best. That's the best you could collectively do.
Jesus.
Is that guy?
Jeez.
That's my choice.
Yeah. Oh, it just drives me crazy, as you know.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy drives me crazy. I'd rather just, with that statement that Trump made about, yeah, I take the dirt. Heck yeah. At least I know where you're coming from. Okay? You might be an idiot. You might be an asshole. You might be just this big turd. But at least I know where you're coming from, man.
But he's such a liar, though.
Oh,
The
I know.
one thing, actually, it was so long ago now, but when I was watching it, it was when Pelosi had said, "Oh, we're going to indict him on this or that. He's corrupt," and right before she walked into a meeting with him. Do you remember that? Right before she walked
Yeah,
into a meeting, she
right,
made an announcement
right,
denouncing him.
Yeah.
Went into the meeting. Trump basically talked to him for 2 minutes and walked out on him.
Yeah.
Then he walked to a podium and he's talking, saying, "You people probably know better than me. You know better than anyone."
I'm the most transparent president probably in the history of this country.
And I'm thinking, who's he talking to right now? I don't understand. I thought he was being sincere. Like he must be talking to a special group. And then I realized it was the press corps. And I thought, you jackass, you won't even turn over your fucking taxes. And you're trying to say you're the most transparent president we've ever had. And he's not only that, he's saying it to the press corps. I was like, no, they know the opposite. Man, that guy's got a pair on him. He may have tiny hands, but he'll be brash and tell you anything.
Yeah, that is true. He's got no.
Or he'll piss in your face and
Yeah.
tell you it's raining.
Yeah, exactly. But
Okay.
do you care about his tax returns?
Not really.
And
And also on his side, it's not mandatory, right? It's customary.
right.
If you if you were trying to do something and you didn't have to turn in your taxes,
Right.
would you?
No.
No.
Wouldn't do it.
And isn't the point, like when you're doing your taxes, aren't you kind of trying to look for as many places to deduct as possible so you can owe as little taxes as possible?
That would be one of the goals.
And all these commentators are saying, oh boy, that sure makes him look like a loser.
And all of them are doing the exact same thing, but nobody's asking.
Yeah, nobody's trying to pay as much taxes as possible. Like, isn't that kind of a win? If he
Legal-
had all this money changing hands and he didn't owe taxes, like, wow,
Follow the law.
you guys better pay attention to him.
Oh,
Follow the law.
Follow the law.
That guy knows how to work the law.
oh my God. I care about Trump's taxes as much as I care about Obama's transcripts from college. I don't give a shit what his transcript said in college. I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
What I give a crap about is, what are you doing now? I don't care about your transcripts. I don't care about your taxes.
Thanks, Obama.
They mean nothing to me.
Do you know anything about Elizabeth Warren? Do you have a shoot from the hip, ready, fire, aim take on her?
She was she gave birth to a huge governmental agency that affects everyone's lives to this day, but hardly anybody knows what the CFPB is.
What is it?
Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. That was her baby. She gave birth organization, this government enterprise.
Okay.
And it is a very powerful organization that now has oversight on consumer protection for credit cards, for, I think, student loans, for mortgage loans, for an array of protections for consumers when it comes to financial matters. One of the things that she set up when she created this organization, her idea was there was no oversight, and I don't know if this is true still to this day, but it was at one point where the CFPB, when they needed money, they didn't have to go through Congress. It's called appropriations, right? Congress says, okay, you need this amount of money, we sign the check and send it to you. They didn't need that. They had no oversight from the United States Congress and no oversight for when it comes to how much money we need. They just asked for it and they got it they go right to the Treasury. We need $800 billion. We need $800 million. We need whatever. And the Treasury.
They don't need to say why?
They just write the check and it doesn't go through Congress. And she did that on purpose. She absolutely did that on purpose. So it did not have to be approved or anything. Talk about transparency. It was just, we need the money, go to the Treasury Department, have them write you a check. To me, that's a huge flaw, but nobody sees that. Nobody cares about it. Nobody.
How is she taking advantage of that, do you think?
Well, I think the agency needs some oversight. I mean, I think it needs.
And she's the head of it?
No, she was never I think at one point she might have been, but no, she's not the head of it. Like I said, might have been considered at one point, but.
So then is your issue with her that she designed this bureau and didn't build in some checks and balances to it, so that makes you suspect of her other policies?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was not
broadly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I don't know anything about Elizabeth Warren, to be fair. I want to know more about her.
Well, I know she's Native American. She has a bit of.
No, she's apologized for that. Hey, do you really care?
Sorry. No, I don't care.
Do you care?
It's so stupid.
No, I don't.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. So you tried to zing one in there on that.
I'm sorry. That was.
We don't care about that.
No, I don't.
You know what? Really I do? Remember how I've been railing on these old guys I want to get out? Trump, you're old, get out. Joe Biden, get out. Bernie Sanders, get out. You know who? Bernie Sanders, though, a lot of the young people love them some Bernie.
And what is he? Well, now he's a millionaire since he sold his book, right?
First of all, let me tell you this.
Do you think he would? Well, whether he's privileged or not, it doesn't matter, because if you're white, you're automatically privileged. Period.
Well, what do you think about, I mean, we've swung radically in a direction. I'm not saying which with Trump. What if Old Field of Bernie got in? How would you feel about that?
Oh my God. I would feel the same way about Biden. His old, rich, white, privileged man.
You would feel the same way about Biden becoming president as Bernie Sanders?
I'm talking about
those are
the person.
Pretty different, aren't they?
Completely different. But I'm talking about what the progressives are trying to portray. That they, are progressive, that they want people of color. They want different viewpoints. They don't want a white privileged man. And that's all they put up there. That's all they support. But everybody walks around about how bad it is and how we need to change that. But you're not changing it. You're still supporting Bernie.
Well, Bernie's pretty different.
Oh, he's different.
Isn't he?
I would say
policy-wise?
Yeah, I would say he's different. Yes. I would say
he would have a tough time getting his stuff through, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Well, they would have a year of Democratic-controlled Congress, right? That'd be the next.
Yeah.
So you could ram through a lot of things. I mean, that's how healthcare got through, right?
Well, I mean, do traditional, middle of the road, or conservative Democrats, if there is such a thing, how do they feel about Bernie? I mean, Republicans didn't want to embrace Trump, right?
No.
They kind of reluctantly did.
They still don't.
No, right. It was like, well, it's better than nothing.
I think that was part of his attraction to the independent voters, right? It was like, if the Democrats hate him and the Republicans hate him, I got to like that guy.
Grab him by the
because if both parties hate him, then maybe that's our guy. I think a lot of independent voters feel that way.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I don't want to take too much of your Father's Day.
And I don't want to take too much of yours.
Do you have anything else you want to?
I've really missed you, and I love you.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I suggest you catch up on some.
I love you. You're supposed to say I love you too.
I want to be very honest. I have great affection for you, but I'm very disappointed. I have been extremely depressed and disappointed.
Love is not jealous. Love.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas Aquinas. No, that's St. Francis.
I think that would be St. Francis. By the way, I was at St. Francis' tomb just about 2 years ago today, actually. I was in Florence for Father's Day 2 years ago, and we had gone to Assisi, and I prayed at the tomb of St. Francis of Assisi. 2 years ago this weekend. There you have it.
Wow. Did you feel any spiritually different being in that locale?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty special to be there, actually. It really is. It's quite the place. A lot of hills in Assisi.
Yeah.
And it was very hot the day we were there. But yeah, it was special, of course.
Okay.
I found it ironic, though, that when we went into the church, it's not a cathedral, it's a church, there was a woman who we were traveling with who had a support dog with her. Right?
Emotional or for the blind? Emotional support?
Emotional. No, yeah, sorry. Emotional support dog. Yeah. And they would not let her into the church. And I thought, wow, St. Francis is the patron saint of animals, and they will not let this woman into the church with holding her dog.
Now, is St. Francis the patron saint of animals throughout the world or just in the United States?
Throughout the world.
Throughout the world. Okay.
Catholic Church, yeah.
That is kind of ironic. Did anybody bring that up? That's worth kind of an open discussion, isn't it? Didn't you kind of want to go over and say, "Excuse me, sir, isn't St. Francis the patron saint of animals?"
Yeah. You think St. Francis would have denied this woman to hold her dog to come into this church? I don't think so.
Was it barking? That annoys me anyway, especially when I see him in a grocery store. But I'm sorry,
it was
what?
An emotional support dog, very well behaved. It had the blue collar on it or whatever. It says, "Don't pet me," and you've seen them before.
I think I have one of those.
If you don't, you should.
Don't pet me, I bite. But I just nip like a little chihuahua. No real damage. So you didn't say anything to the...
No, I didn't. Okay. I didn't. Right. No, I do tend to be well behaved when I'm a guest in someone else's country.
Okay, that's smart. You can never go wrong keeping your mouth shut.
That rule.
Better to remain quiet and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt.
Amen.
The senator should apply his sense of decorum in visiting other countries to his responsibility to this show, for Christ's sake. That's what I think. Thank you for taking time to listen to The Modern Moron. In the coming weeks, I have an interview with my former morning show partner from my days in radio back before the turn of the century. That's old. We'll see you next time on The Moron.